Thank you very much, Professor Sharma, for your very, I would say, thoughtful views and also giving a new directions in terms of what you feel and you have given out on the basis of solar cell, use of solar cell and also CO2 emission, how it can be turned into a positive approach. Now, I would move to our next panelist, Mr. Harshal Kumar. Now, as far as he is concerned, he is National Renewable Energy Fellow Awardee, and I think I would request him to share his views, and particularly since he has been the awardee on this issue, as far as the renewables are concerned, his views will go a long way. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Before I move further, let me wish a very good morning to all the guests here. It is, of course, a great moment for me for sharing dais with the eminent personality like we have here on the dais. So before I move to the innovation, investment and technology part of zero emission fuel, I would like to bring your kind notice towards a press conference which was done around 3 days back. It was very interesting because somehow it was related with this topic, which was, of course, being done months ago, but the timing could not be great. So as you know that the British major, the BP organization, they had a press conference and they said that they are going to achieve the target of zero emission by 2050. Now, the more interesting part is that after they did this declaration, after they did this press conference, the share prices of that British giant rose by more than 1%. Now, this is a testimony of the fact that investors these days are not shying away from making tough decisions, but they are also taking ambitious climate change policy, and they are not finding them as a curse to their pursuit for earning profit or as an anathema to their profit-making journey. So it's a good start. Whether they would be able to do zero emission by 2050, that's another question, but they have set a good precedent, of course. Now, when we come to the technology, innovation, and investment part, the major part which comes along the line is scaling up the technology. Now, this is challenging as far as India is concerned. So if you look at Indian economy or Indian industry sector, there are three major industries which would be affected by this step. One is the cement industry, another is steel, and third is, of course, the chemical industry producing plastics and everything. Now, they use many of the fossil fuel as the raw material. So, of course, scaling up the technology is the need of the hour because without it, they can't. Yes, there has been some progress which has been made, like in steel making, cleaner electric arc furnaces can decarbonize the recycling of scrap material. New low carbon steel can be produced using natural gas or hydrogen instead of coal in the energy hungry process of iron ore reduction. In heating, which accounts for more than 50% of the total energy consumption, hydrogen could replace natural gas in existing distribution network. Now, the part is that many of these technologies are technically evident and technically being proven, but still they are not commercially viable because they have not been scaled up to a limit where they could be a better alternative than others previous resources. This is where research organization and like IT Delhi, of course, Sharma sir has done a great deal of work in energy. This is where energy research organization has to come up to scale up this technology so that it could be used as an alternative to the previous one. Because, so if you look at the all three industry, whether cement, steel or plastic producing industry, they contribute to more than 42% of the total greenhouse gases all across the world. And they consume around 29% of the total world energy across the world. So of course, yes, a research organization has to scale up the technology in order to reach to a level where it could be no extra burden on the final consumer. The second part is the policy change. So of course, it impacts the all three parts, whether it's technology, whether it's innovation, whether it's investment. So if you look at the scenario, renewable energy technologies like wind, solar, or turbine, they would have not reached their market potential if there would have been no global or regional legislative support. There has been great support. But still we are lagging behind. So if you look at the scenario of Japan, so they have already declared themselves as an hydrogen society. And they are working towards, they have already made roadmaps for the commercial production and the usage of the same. As per World Economic Forum reports, 80% of the 80% of the countries have still not made concrete roadmap or policy for hydrogen production and usage. In the US, as per the policy goes, the tax incentives are encouraging a wave of new CCUS projects, that is the carbon capturing, utilization and storage, with the majority to aiming to capture CO2 emissions in the chemical sector. Europe has already achieved this renewable energy target by introducing renewable energy into electricity mix. And now they have set up another target of decarbonizing the heat process in the renewable energy sector with an annual target of around 1.3%. So that's a great start. So again, that's a testimony of the fact that if we could really focus on the policy level, not just on the pan-country level, but also on the local level, then of course progress could be done and better options could come up which are scalable and economy viable. The third part, which is again directly related to all three segments, whether it's technology, innovation, or investment, is generating demand. So yes, of course, through energy taxation and carbon pricing, through mechanisms like the European Union energy trading system are becoming more common in some parts of the world. So both make it less attractive to generate greenhouse gases and more appealing to invest in abatement technology. So now there are two parts to generate the demand for the zero net emission fuel. One is, of course, the public procurement process. So if the government could include that process into public procurement, then there would be more demand and the investor and industry would not hesitate to invest in technology and of course in the usage, and because of course they'll be earning profit out of it. The second part is at the grassroots level, if people could be encouraged enough to use it despite being expensive, and some culture is being created, so they choose the other better option, which is cleaner and better, then of course sky is the limit. So a very interesting case study with this is the organic food. So when organic food came in the market, it was very expensive and people were not purchasing it. But sooner or later, people were becoming more aware, people were made more aware, and then they were valuing their health more than the money. That is how organic food, picked up. And now, as you can see, they are they are not very expensive as they used to be because they have scaled up already. Now they have been brought up to a level where, yes, even people could use it easily. Similarly, like if you see, as per World Economic Forum report, in case of using zero net emission fuel, the final price of a car would hardly increase by only $180. The price of a soft drink bottle will only increase by $0.01. The only difference in the consumer prices, where there is a huge increment or which would be heavy on the consumer pocket, would be the aviation tickets. Because with the current price of the biofuel and everything, and it has not been scaled up to a level, of course it would have impact only in the aviation sector, but not much of that extent in other sector. So yes, having said that, yes, of course, there are three factors which I believe would contribute to technology investment and innovation. One is scaling up of technology, second is policy changes, and third is generating demand through government channels and local channels. Thank you.